everyone, this is Greyshot17
and Greyshot151 here.
And today we're doing another tier list because you guys seem to like them, so we're going to keep doing them.
Yes, and next up on our list, we're going to be doing Axis armor. We have a list here of all tanks, but we're primarily focusing on the German variety.
Reason is if we did both at the exact same time, this would be an hour-long video, and I really don't want it to be. So this will be between 15 and 20 minutes long, hopefully.
Yes.
So let's get to it, shall we? The best tanks in Company of Heroes 2 on the Axis side. OKW and Wehrmacht. Let's get to it. Yag Panzer. Where do we put that?
Yag Panzer, solid B tier tank. Okay. It's weak armor from the sides.
Yes.
Good,
good rear. There's no side. But anyway, it has decent front armor, good attack. The main issue that I currently find is with this tank is the fact that while it has a good attack and stuff like that,
yes,
it is something of like, okay, you're gonna have a tank that's great for ambushing and camouflaging,
yes,
but it's not necessarily great for flanks or inbound, like the big Panther rush that you want to do against the enemy. Usually
also what you have against the allies is a lot of armor and a lot of anti-tank armor.
Yeah.
So when usually if you go to like a Panzer IV, you're going against infantry. If you're getting a Panther, you really want to make sure you stop that armor. This is very much a kind of...
This stops the enemy. This stops the enemy from attacking you.
Yes.
This is not great. In my opinion, this is not great for attacks.
Yeah, unless you have unless you're like slowly moving up, or the enemy just charges. Its camouflage ability is fantastic, and it can pack a punch.
Yeah,
but it can't take a lot of hits itself unless it bounces.
Also, not good against infantry whatsoever.
No, and it has no machine gun.
And in case you're wondering, well, this is a tank destroyer. Why would it? There are other tank destroyers we'll get to, such as the Yag Tiger, which I would consider more of an S tier.
I would give it an A tier. It is expensive and bulky, and it is the best anti-tank on the German side. Like, this sucker will slaughter at higher, especially if you get this sucker to higher ranks.
Yes.
It will just...
The only thing is the higher veterancy.
Yes.
You can make its engine a lot better.
Yes.
With the upgrade. It has a good gun for both killing armor and also against infantry. It's good explosive shells against fortifications, which is why, since it has good against all targets, it's big and bulky, but you can increase its speed to be even better if you want. Okay. That's why I would say it's more of an S tier.
Okay.
Because, again, I don't, like, compared to others we'll get to, this is leagues above a lot of other armor.
It also has the anti-infantry ability special, like the little bunker explosion.
Yeah, that's what
which
I meant.
Is good. Yeah, like you mentioned. And at least it has something.
Yes.
Yeah, because otherwise it is a
also its range is incredible. It has impeccable range, even more so than the other one, the Elephant, which I would also give a B tier.
Yeah, unless you get the scope of this thing, it's not seeing much. And while it's better at a higher rank, it needs just that much more. Like, it needs more support. It needs more infantry to defend it. Because the Yag Tiger can take some hits. The Elephant is a little bit weaker.
Yeah, it is a little bit cheaper.
Yeah.
But that being said, I do feel, even though it's a little bit cheaper, I still, like...
It has no special.
Good. I just think the Yag Tiger is so much better.
You get a lot more abilities also with the Yag compared to the Elephant, which is why I would give the edge to the Yag. More
speed, more maneuverability, and more...
armor.
And a little, I think a little more armor. I could be wrong on that. And also a gun against infantry, which is why it excels against an Elephant, which is great against armor, but that's about
lacking on other things.
Yes. So let's get to something else. How about a Flame Hetzer? Where are we putting this?
Solid C. Compared to the KV-8, this sucker is just a sad imitation. Lighter armor, can't switch its gun to like an actual tank gun.
The gun is completely in front, where the KV, you can kind of maneuver it.
It can turn it, It doesn't need to turn its body to face its enemies, which is another...
And with infantry, you may be saying, well, Greyshot, why does it matter? Infantry are going to run all over the place, so you're going to have to move that. This thing literally would have to stop and turn physically, or chase it. And that puts it in a lot more precarious situation.
Keep in mind, this is something you can unlock. Yes. Like, this is something you unlock in a tank, or in a tier. But it's not like... So you can get it anytime you want. Like, it has that option where you don't have to tech for it. You can just kind of get it.
Yeah.
But... yeah, no, it's
but maybe it should
really specialized. Like, you're fighting like the British that are the most emplaced, and they just have the entire city on, let's say, like Liane Forest. Grab one of these suckers; it'll burn them away. But other than that, like if you're in an open field, this is not the tank to get.
Yeah, but that being said, maybe you should chill out. Thank you to our wonderful chef for making banana smoothies.
Yes, brought to you by
Ace's Smoothie Shop. But in any case, let's get to it. Next armored vehicle for the Axis, I can see. Yeah, no, it is really good. I'm like, holy crap. But in any case, let's go with the King Tiger.
Ooh, yes.
I know we just put the Yag Tiger as a very good tier, but I would probably put the King Tiger as S tier as well.
I would.
It's good against all targets.
Yes.
Great. It can squad wipe infantry.
Yes.
It can definitely knock out any armor.
Yes.
It can especially if you get like
some great veterancy perks.
If heat shells, it can two-shot a lot of armored tanks.
Yes.
It's great for Spearhead when you get enough upgrades for it. Has Vet 5 veterancy.
Yes.
Good speed, good maneuverability. Has a blitz for God's sakes.
It does.
It's for a heavy tank. It is incredibly fast.
It's potent against infantry so effectively because most of the time you're like, well, I need to fight something against like I don't know an army of tanks, and a King Tiger can really keep a lot of tanks at a distance. The one thing I will say is its range.
Yeah.
Like obviously Jackson or a Firefly will still outrange it easily, but it can still take those hits and move up close enough so it can hit back.
By the way,
it hits back hard. It can also go into the infantry, which is another thing the allies love to do later in the game.
Yes.
Is when you're getting into like those grindy wars where the manpower really matters.
Yes.
You can really start churning in some damage with the King Tiger holding a point or something.
Yes.
So yeah, no, it's definitely the best all-round tank probably in the game easily by itself. It can go.
It is expensive.
Yes.
But that being said, there's a reason why. It's easily when you deploy this thing. It takes a lot to kill it. And if you're a good player, this thing can easily gain veterancy and destroy the enemy forces slowly but surely.
1000%.
Yes. So next up, let's go with a smaller vehicle.
Okay.
Let's go with a Puma. Where would we put the Puma?
Solid B tier. It's great when you're murdering lighter vehicles.
You can murder some infantry.
This sucker is actually surprisingly great at murdering infantry, like just shooting at a range. When you have like 3 Pumas, the machine gun.
It's like okay. I'm not gonna say great.
It's way better than I would ever give it credit for. But like the Puma itself, it can't go toe to toe with a T-34. But if you maneuver it just right, it can be the pain in the enemy.
Especially equipped with elite armor with heat shells.
Yes.
This thing can be devastating.
100%.
Also has smoke.
Yep.
Aim shots so you could crit hit any tank in the game.
Yes.
Similar to like with the Elephant, but again, what this thing is also good at is because of its maneuverability.
Yes.
While the Elephant is stuck at one single range, this thing can literally get behind a target while you have something else fighting in front of it.
Yes.
It's a great support. It's not technically a tank; it's an armored vehicle, but it's still very good for surrounding the enemy.
Yes, very much so.
Next up, we have let's go with a Panzer IV before we get to its variant. I think the Panzer IV is a...
By the way, we're combining these into the one, so yes, Wehrmacht.
Yeah, so the Wehrmacht one. I know the OKW one is slightly different.
Yes.
And technically, we could put a variation of that where if this one's B tier, then the OKW one would be an A tier. So we kind of thought about that. It's like, whatever the OKW one has, just put it a little higher.
Yeah.
So I would say the Panzer IV is a B tier because it's good against infantry. It's a medium tank. It's pretty much one of the best medium tanks in the game.
Yeah, it'll basically it'll shut down infantry pretty nicely. You can get some real nice hits on this. There's a lot of right now. I don't think it's great, and especially 4v4s or 3v3s because people tending to go with like the bigger heavy hitters, KVs, Su-85s, Jacksons, Shermans.
I think that's an understatement because again, if used correctly, like elite armored, Panzer Commander with some heat shells, you can smash through the enemy line.
True.
Again, you have to use it effectively, but you can use the Panzer IV. It's a good all-around tank.
I'm just saying what it's going to be facing against. It's a very good tank. I'm just saying there are better versions of it, and that's why it's at B and not like a higher rank.
Yes. But what about the Command Panzer IV?
Probably a C tier.
Here's the thing,
C or B.
That 10% bonus or I think it's 10% damage reduction is actually pretty damn good.
It does get better with
and even though that it has a shorter barrel, it's still good against stuff at a closer range. So even though I may say
mostly infantry, you're not going to be fighting like a tank with that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's definitely something that's going to be more close
if you
quarters,
have if you're in a 4v4 and you have one of these suckers, it's fantastic.
Yes.
But if you don't, you're going solo and you're thinking this sucker's going to fight a Sherman, you are sadly mistaken. You are sadly mistaken.
Yeah. So, but again, I still think its ability. Well, maybe.
I would say C. It's good in the situation that you have it.
It's very good.
Yeah,
but you're right. The short
exclude it
barrel.
from that situation, and it's just a measly tank.
Okay.
Do
you have both the Panther and Command Panther here?
Possibly.
Okay, so here's the Panther.
Yes.
Where would we put the Panther?
The S rank.
I would put A rank. I would put the Command Panther at S rank.
Okay.
Here's the rationale.
Yeah.
The a Panther itself is extremely good against armor.
Has a machine gun.
Yeah, has a machine gun. Good against its infantry, great against armor, and overall great for like busting through the enemy line and getting behind and doing what you need to do. It is rather expensive, but it has great mobility, great speed, and everything else. The reason why I say it's maybe not S tier is because of the fact that infantry and also snaring, if you can, even though it has great speed, it has great front armor and
No, I would actually tend to agree in regards to what it does, which is in regards to what it can do. It is fantastic. Like, this sucker will beat Sherman's, Jackson's. It is the best medium tank.
Yeah,
like,
it's an advanced medium.
You need tank destroyers or heavy tanks to fight this
I think
thing.
it's just weak against infantry.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, it's definitely the flaw of it, which is if you have like Pinos running at this thing, it's gonna run in fear. Like you can't fight other infantry with this unless it's like, I don't know, conscripts, one conscript squad.
Yeah. Whereas the Panzer IV has trouble versing Jacksons, but against infantry, it actually can do decently well.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'd give it a solid A with the command. Definitely taking the S for the bonus.
I was gonna say I don't see the command. I
might have forgotten
Panther,
it, so apologies.
So great job on that. But just note that the command vehicle variation would be S tier in our opinion.
But yeah, let's go with the classic Wehrmacht tank.
Just because, by the way, all the infantry bonus and abilities you get is super worth it.
Oh yeah, once it reaches a higher variancy, yeah. But let's go with the Tiger next.
Tiger. Okay, there are two variations.
Yes.
First, let's go with, and by the way, this was before the commander patch, so I know they're supposedly going to be fixing it, but until that point, until they fix it, I'm going to label the Tiger Ace as a D, and I'm going to label the Tiger as a B.
I would agree with those statements. I would say the Tiger Ace might be a C, but like I would...
No, it's a goddamn D.
But please explain.
Okay, let's explain the Tiger first. The Tiger is good against all targets, has an MG, has a blitz mode, so again, good for actually this one's good for actually retreating, while more the OKW blitzes are good for charging.
Yes.
The big thing, the huge thing about the Tiger though is the front armor is not as good as the King.
Yeah, it doesn't.
So it has tendency, while it is a bigger tank, it can take it
usually takes those
sets
hits
itself up. Yeah.
Usually it takes those hits, it doesn't bounce those hits, which is a disservice.
Yeah, and also it doesn't have the veterancy like the King Tiger does.
Yep.
The bonuses, and it doesn't have the additional bonuses the Blitz has for the King Tiger. So
but
that's
the Tiger Ace.
So that's why it is down. The Tiger Ace is a D because even though it's technically better than the Tiger base because it has veterancy, the problem with this thing, this travesty of a unit, is the fact of its income. It costs, I think it's 800 manpower and 150 fuel. Okay, that's not too bad, right? Well, it's going to cost you 90% of your fuel and 25% of your manpower income. So, essentially, you cannot deploy any other vehicles unless you already pre-plan this, and then it's going to cut into your manpower.
Yep.
You will lose this game from this tank starving you to death. More so than...
Yeah, this is a tank that you call either when you're desperate...
Yeah.
...or when you are winning. You have so much stocked up that you can afford it.
You must win the game in under 5 minutes.
Those are two very opposite ends of the spectrum.
If you don't end this game in a few minutes after deploying this tank, it will kill you.
Very much like the German war effort in World War II.
Like, literally, it's literally it's a unit in this game that after the first few minutes, it's like a Kubel. But the Kubel is great, and I make fun of it being Vet 5 and everything. But dear Lord Almighty, sacrifice this thing so you can get your manpower back, because it's going to kill you in the long term.
Can you only get one per game?
Yes, and that's the thing. You only get one per game. Yeah. So if this is not working for you and you're not winning, sacrifices. You get your fuel and income back. Toss it. I'm being serious. That's why it's a D. It's so much good. It's so better, but it kills you in games.
Yeah, it's not worth the trade.
Yeah.
Next up, let's go with everyone's favorite Luke's on the top right-hand corner.
Oh, okay. Where are we putting the Luke's?
Luke's is a bit of a wild card. I would probably go with a B tier.
Okay.
Probably wouldn't put it any higher.
Okay, here's the question.
Yes.
Out of all the light tanks in the game, is it the best infantry killer?
No.
Because we're dealing with the Stuart, the T-70, and the Luke's.
For its tier, it's going to be fighting Stuarts, maybe T-70s. And for that, it's the weakest tank, but against infantry early game, it's good.
I would, in 100% opinion, I would give it an A tier.
I go with B, but I will divert.
The reason is it's incredible really, really damn good against A. It has good speed, good maneuverability.
Yes.
Very good in that regard. It is, and again, good armor. I think this thing is great.
It can take a few hits, but the problem is,
Yeah.
for me, the thing that would make it a B and not an A is the fact that one AT gun, this thing gets shut down pretty hard.
Yeah.
And if you get this, think about how you're getting this tank. You're going to go mechanized, which means that you also have the option for the Stuka.
Yeah.
And for me, the Stuka is always better than that thing.
I think this thing is, I mean, the Stuka is good in long term.
Because it doesn't scale.
Yeah,
but
this thing out of the light tanks, like example, when we're comparing other tanks like the Panther and stuff like that, it is going to be against everything else, which is why the Panther is an A tier, but the Panther command vehicle variant is S.
Yes.
The King Tiger, out of all the heavy tanks of its general area, is the best one out of them. The Tiger tank is a good heavy tank, but it is beaten by other heavy tanks. The Panzer IV is a good medium tank, but there are a few others that are better.
Yeah.
The Luke's is better in my opinion than the T-70.
Yeah.
The T-70 is a good recon tank, good overall, but I think the Luke's is way better.
Yeah.
But the Stewart is easily the best.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. But my note would be the fact that it can only go against infantry marks it down to the B. But let's move on to the Wehrmacht tanks like the Stugs.
Oh, god damn it.
Yes.
All right, so I'm assuming... All right,
the left one is a normal Stug. That one is the assault Stug.
All right, so the assault Stug, which is essentially like a assault gun.
Yeah.
Let's put it at a S tier. I'm sorry, C.
Yeah, it's an S tier. It's one-shot Shermans.
God damn it.
Bless you.
Excuse me. Thank you. The big thing about this is just, I think for an assault gun, you would rather get a Brumbar, and I think the Brumbar
is an A tier. That is a solid A tier tank. It has a ton of armor. When you want to murder infantry, this sucker will wipe infantry when you want it to be.
It's great against fortifications as well. Well, the Stugi, it does have like a similar thing, but it's very easily killed by infantry. Could easily walk up and murder it.
Yep.
So the Brumbar has too much front armor and too much like good defense, where it's like that's not happening.
Next up, we have the normal Stug, which I would vote to be at least a B.
Okay. So...
Because this sucker... Because, yes...
Think about its place. Is it... So, the Wolverine...
Yeah.
The Su-76... The
Stug.
And the Stug... Those are, like, light tank destroyers.
Yeah.
Is this the best light tank destroyer?
Yes.
Is this good? Okay. Can the Stug be good in longer range games against heavier tanks?
This is a tank that can scale quite nicely to the later game.
Yes.
Compared to the Su-76 and compared to the other variants.
It does have an MG. It has also a target ability to hit other armor to pin them.
Yep.
So the question is it A tier or S tier? Is Stug S because of its ability to scale? Or is it A tier?
A tier. Because it still lacks the power again. It's still
Easier to kill.
It's later to kill and it's easier because I've so many games. I've very rarely had a guy charge with me with 100 SU. You know what I mean, like 100 Su-76s. But I can name a ton of games where
Stug
Life descends from the hills and starts murdering my lighter armor, and it's just a swarm. It's a herd.
Yep.
So yeah, no, the ability for this sucker to scale later into the game is pretty nice. It is a blob, but there is that option.
Okay, so next up, what do we have left? Oh, the Osmond.
Yep.
This is really good against infantry.
Yeah.
Very good against infantry. It's also okay. Planes is good. I feel like for whatever reason the Soviet AA is still the best.
Oh, it is hands down.
But the Osmond's really good. It's good against infantry as well.
And that's why I would give it a B tier. Its armor, its ability to it's not as great against anti-air, but it can be used for that purpose. I mean, it isn't. Funny enough, that's the one thing that I'd say is the weakest part of this is actually shooting down planes. But also, its gun against infantry is just fantastic.
Yes.
Like it will shred infantry. And that's the thing I will say is better at compared to, like, say, the Russian. The Russian AA half-track can suppress, but I wouldn't say it really does enough, whereas this sucker will shred that infantry.
Okay, so then in all honesty, is this all the German vehicles? I can't think of another one that you're missing, and trust me, I'm like, any chance I can point out a flaw, I would. But out of tanks, varieties, or armored vehicles, I don't see anything else. We're not adding the flame half track or anything. We're not adding half tracks in this, so that's why none of them are here.
Yeah, and the Puma makes it on here because I would argue
it's good against armor.
It's what you would consider. It might be a vehicle, quote unquote, because it doesn't have treads, and, you know, all the other
It's an armored
classifications,
car.
whatever. Yeah, it's an armored car, but you are fighting a Stuart, which is a light tank. Like, it is a very good at its role, and that's why it makes it B tier among, even if it's not a tank, it makes it the cuts.
It's an armored car that can kill light tanks very quickly, so that's what's good at. But let us know what you think of our tier list. Do you guys agree with it? Do you disagree? Do you think the Tiger should be higher and I'm an idiot? Let me know down in the comments down below. But in any case, to start Axis list, tune in next time for our Allied list.
Yep.
But it's been Greyshot17.
And Greyshot151.
And we'll see you all next time.
Later.
Hello everyone, I want to give a special shout out to Patreon supporters Milam, Ace, Chris Bailey, Javi, Jfoe, Joey240, Josh, JP Vaal, jrchicklis, Little Koosh, Moustache, Onlyplayapples, PyroShark, Rifle, Sebastian Marszalek, Sergeant McPain, Streakingwookie, WhiteHodD, GTA, Jakub Ocwieja, Nathan Angus, and of course Tim. Thank you guys so much for your amazing support. This has been Greyshot17 and my amazing patrons, and I'll see you guys next time.